So here we have the essential waves that has been rewarded with a contract to provide offshore supply vessels to Starlight Energy. John Smith, operation manager at Essential Waves, plans the PSV Wave Surfers crew in order to start the vessel's contract. Larry Davis, first officer in this vessel, checks his boarding periods as well as his mandatory certificate situation in the BlueOpex. The Blue Control calculates for the HR manager, Helen, the payroll variables for her just to approve. Meanwhile, John Smith no longer has to update employees' data because the BlueOpex is fully integrated with the company's ERP. Steve Hardaway, contract manager at Starlight Energy, keeps requesting the vessel schedule to John, so he created for him a view profile in the BlueOpex. Steve now has full access to the vessel planning. In another situation, Starlight Energy has hired Nova Offshore for maintenance services in one of its FPSOs. Steve Hardaway requested Imo Zhang, operation analyst at Nova Offshore, to provide the mandatory documents and to plan the technicians in the BlueOpex according to the flight seats and accommodations available. Imo's resource planning and documents are validated in the BlueOpex, and Steve approves or requests changes when necessary. The data provided by Imo is used by the Blue Control at the Starlight to calculate the workforce fee that will be billed by Nova Offshore later. This data is integrated with the company's ERP to validate the invoice that will be received from Nova in the end of the month. Steve has chosen to share with Imo Zhang the numbers processed by the Blue Control in order to speed up the billing process. Hope Hugen, a maintenance employee at the Starlight, who is going to supervise the work of the third-party technician, has easy access to his boarding schedule in the Blue Direct. Steve made a successful case managing the suppliers using the intercom solution, so now all the suppliers have restricted profile in the Starlight BlueOpex. Now I'd like to show you a little bit of our solution, the BlueOpex, where the planning happens and all the management is conducted. In our planning tool, we have the areas of FPSO. So I'm simulating the organization of FPSO. We have the production area, the cargo area, and down below, the maintenance project that will be organized by a third-party company. In order to plan the resources here, we can do by employee. So I can click here and define a working period for Anna that is starting at the 5th. And the BlueOpex helps the user to check if Anna is fulfilling all the requirements for the operation. In this example, Anna needs a passport, a visa, a HUE certificate, and a BOSET certificate to go on board. This planning can be done not only by employee, by teams itself, also by teams. And here, when I select a specific team, I already know the position that I need to fulfill. And the BlueOpex recommends for the users, the employees that are in compliance with the requirements. Of course, that to board these employees, it's necessary to check if there are enough accommodations and flights available. So when you register as an asset, it's possible to define the amounts of beds and accommodation that you have available and the number of flights going on board each day. So here I have asset being registered and the amount of beds and accommodation. And in the planning tool, I can check how many seat flights I have available at each day. In this one, for example, I have 5 seats occupied and 10 left to board employees and third-party technicians. And I can also check in the planning tool the amount of accommodations and beds occupied and available. The employees that are being shown in the first column are all divided by profiles. So I can go to the employee list. And in employee list, I can filter to find the information that I need. So here, I'm going to filter by the employees related to FPSO Starlight only. And accessing one of them, I can check the basic information about the employee, the main location that he's related to, the project he's selected. I have a tab to check the situation of the documents. So here I can see that Finlay needs a passport and a visa, and it's pending. It's defined as a requirement for the operation. The certificate control is the same as the document. The difference is that one is related to training and the other one is not. And if I want to check the journey of filling in the company, I can go to the activities tab, and I can see what has happened with him, what is going on now in the moment of that I'm accessing the software, and the planned events, the future ones. In this scenario, Starlight Energy is planning an operation that will start in 2022. So here I can only see future events. The requirements that I was referring to before can be defined here in the requirement section. Here I can see the definitions. And on this menu, I can define documents and certificates as required, mandatory, or critical. The difference between them is that when a document's defined as critical, the software doesn't allow the user to plan a resource, an employee. It's blocked. All this configuration and planning can be checked in reports. We have two kinds of reports. We have the one that we define as productivity reports, where each line of the report is an activity going on. So in this example, I have Anna. Anna, in the 17th of January next year, will start a production activity for 14 days that will end at the 3rd. So each line is a different activity. These columns and the features can be defined by the user, so I can make my report. The list of reports here are made by users. Nothing is predefined. And another kind of report is related to compliance items. So for me to check, is this the situation of documents and certificates in the software, I can generate a report. And here, for example, Anna is in compliance with the deposit requirement, but the passport is pending. There's no information in the software. The compliance can be checked both by reports and notifications. In the notifications, I can create groups, and the group will define the email that we receive and the information that we receive by email. So here, example, I have mandatory documents. This notification will be sent weekly, every Tuesday. I will receive information about document expiring in 30 days. And if I click here, I also include the expired ones. Another key feature of the BlueOpex is the user groups. So for Steve to create a view profile or a restricted profile for the service providers, I have a lot of permissions here to define a specific group for a specific project or a specific working location, and this group will be restricted just to plan events or just to check documents. It's very customizable. Last but not the least, we have the dashboard. In the dashboard, we have some key indicators. So for example, the recently admitted employees, hired employees, total active employees, a map where your operation is, and a graphic showing the amount of working days, the amount of day offs, vacation days. So I can take a look in a more wide view here, more broad view here, and in the specific can go to the planning and check what's going on. As I mentioned in the scenario, Larry, the first officer in WaveSurf, has access to the Blue Direct, and this is the Blue Direct where he has access to the details. Some information that the company has about Larry, it's shown here. There is information about payroll, so all the paychecks received from the company are listed here in the Blue Direct. There's the timeline and the schedule, the boarding period that's going to happen for him, the training that he selected to be in, the situation of the certificates. If Larry needs to renew a certificate, he can upload to the BlueOpex a PDF or a picture of the certificate, so the renewal process is faster. We also talked about in the Starlight processes the Blue Control. So the Blue Control Helen is the HR manager in charge of approving the payroll. She receives this list. So each line is employee, and the lines below are the amounts that are due for the payroll of these employees. But it's also possible to use the Blue Control to measure contract. So when I have these different view, I can see the cost of each employee. So if I'm talking about a service provider, each line shows me the hours, and each section has the value of each service provider. And I also have a third one that shows the results by cost center. So I can control contract situations, contract fees, and automatize these processes using the Blue Control. The last information that I would like to show you in this demonstration regards to the planning, not only for the FPSO, but also the PSV. John Smith, who is the operation manager at Essential Waves, has a different planning routine, because for PSV you have a specific team that needs to go on board for the vessel to work, a security crew. So here I can see the team A that is on board for 28 days, and then another team that's replacing the team A, the team B, that goes to another 28 days. So the planning tool is flexible not only for PSV planning, but also PSV, another kind of asset, can be planned here in the planning tool of the BlueOpex.